Hey guys, welcome to episode 24 of Thor. We're going to talk about today a universally acclaimed game that's been acclaimed for its narrative, its world design, its art direction, its music, its graphics, which are amazing, and its awesome characters and combat system. And this was 2018's Game of the Year. And I'm just wondering if you guys can think about what I'm talking about. If you've guessed right, we're going to be talking about God of War. And it's going to be great. We're going to be talking about Kratos and Kratos' adventures here on the next episode of the House of R.E.P. So stay tuned, subscribe, and enjoy. Alright, so to episode 24 of Thor. I want to welcome my guest, Z. Say hi, Z.
Hello, everyone.
This is the first podcast where we're actually together in a room, actually doing a podcast together. So it's a pretty cool feeling to actually, bang out a podcast together. Because of COVID-19, we were kind of, had to sort of all self-isolate in our different places. So, yeah, this game, bro. Sony Interactive Entertainment banged this one out in 2018. Dude, this game was like...
Big fan of this series.
It was epic because we love God of War. I like Kratos a lot as a character. He's a really kind of like... he's like those kind of antagonists I like. He's like an anti-hero. He kind of does his own thing. I've always loved Greek god mythology. It's one of my favorite things ever since I saw Hercules: A Legendary Journey starring Kevin Sorbo. That was like one of the dopest series I ever saw, and its spin-off Xena was really cool as well. So then when, they made God of War, it was like this sick hack and slash game, like button mashing kind of game. And I got into it actually kind of late. Like, I never actually played it on the PS2. I kind of retroactively played it. So what happened was that, like, when it first came out on PS2, I never played it when it debuted. I actually ended up playing it when it had, like, dropped in price a bit. And then I played the digital series, like the Ghosts of Sparta and the spin-offs that, were prequels to the original God of War. So I slowly got into it and really liked it. And he was also a guest character in like games like Mortal Kombat 9, Soul Calibur, Broken Destiny. Yeah. So that's another way that Kratos got really bossed. So
he was really good in Mortal Kombat 9.
Yeah, he was very good in Mortal Kombat 9. He had a lot of moves, and he had all of his special things. Like, he had Medusa that he would blind people with, and, use his Blades of Chaos and stuff like that. For people who don't know who Kratos is a Spartan general who basically ended up needing assistance against a barbarian king. He was going to lose in battle, so he made a pact with Ares, who unknowingly was his brother. And his brother tricked him because, like, there's some kind of a prophecy that the Greek gods were going to get killed by a normal human who's going to have a mark. And Kratos has a very distinct tattoo on his face. So originally what they did is they took his brother and they imprisoned and tortured him. And Kratos tried to save him, but he couldn't. And then he just carried on his life and marked his face with a tattoo to honor his brother Deimos. And basically what happened is that Kratos became a servant of Ares. And if you haven't played the games, it's a spoiler alert. You should play the games and then listen to this podcast. Yeah, because it's really fun. But if you don't want
to... Who hasn't played the game?
Yeah, exactly. But if you haven't played the game, play them. They're really nice. They're easy. Just play on easy or something if you can't, take it on hard. But hard's more fun because it's like quite a challenge. It's available on PS2, and then you can get it kind of digitally on newer consoles. It will just emulate it. So you can play it on like a PS3 or a... possibly a PS4. I'm not sure about that, if they released a remastered edition of it. I know God of War 3 got remastered and maybe Ascension, but I can't remember whether or not the originals are available. But they're not hard to emulate or play, so they're great games. But anyway, Kratos gets betrayed. He goes after the Greek gods and he whoops ass. So basically, he's like a badass. So this game picks up a couple of decades later, and Kratos is now in Midgard. So he's gone to the Scandinavian, Nordic kind of setting.
Region.
And that whole kind of area Z, set it up for us. You know, what was it like when you first experienced this game?
Yeah, God of War was really cool because we were waiting for a long game and a kind of killer tile to appear on the PlayStation 4. We obviously had, I think, Horizon Zero Dawn the year before.
Amazing game.
Which is also an amazing game, if
We'll be
not
talking about
like
that.
on par with this game. But we'll talk about it a bit later on what I like about Horizon compared to this, and why this is like slightly better than Horizon in terms of playability and art direction and graphics and so on and so forth. But yeah, I think like around 2018 we heard, like early 2018 we heard about, or I think it was like late 2017 we heard about a God of War game coming, and we didn't know much about it.
We're kind of
And
keeping an eye on it.
We were kind of
tracking
watching it
but
and listening to like press and Sony statements and so forth. And then we found out that, oh, okay, Kratos has gone to a new area. What's this about? You know? And we realized, oh, he's got this awesome new axe now. He's got a battle axe instead of his traditional chain lift kind of
See, that was
blades.
interesting.
So
That was really cool because the Leviathan axe is one of my favorite weapons
it's
in
a
the game.
very cool weapon.
I like the Blades of Chaos, but I tend to use the Leviathan axe more. I just it's got a weight to it. It's got this kind of control. You can throw it like a boomerang, like
Yeah,
Thor, and
it's
call
cool.
it back. So it has that kind of like wicked kind of Thor feeling, you know, that you can control this. The enemies are really fun.
But I think it's nice that it's an axe and not a hammer.
Yeah.
So the emphasis on it being an axe is that because Kratos is quite a violent dude, he's quite aggressive when he does his attacks. It's better as a sharp, blunt object as opposed to a thumping object.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, like, what's kind of cool about the game is that you've got this new setting and the world is amazing. The production
I have
design.
to give props to Santa Monica Studios. They've always made great games. Like, obviously, they've made God of War 1, 2, and 3. God of War 1 and 3 are pretty amazing games because Ray told me about them very late as well.
Yeah,
I
very
didn't know
fun.
much about.
Very fun.
Yeah.
The button mashing is amazing.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
You
And
suddenly are getting
quick,
crushed.
quick time
And then you have to, the quick time and stuff. I mean, he whoops pretty much everyone. You know, like Perseus,
And
Hercules, everyone.
at the
gets
time, I
defeated.
think the Santa Monica Studios did a good effort in pushing the graphics of PS2 and 3.
Exactly, they were really pushing the graphics. I mean, like, I remember, like, the PlayStation 2 always had this kind of, like, texture issue, you know, where textures never look the best, you know, compared to an Xbox. So the actual engine and the kind of the speed of that console went up to par, you know, and PlayStation 3. But PlayStation 4 is a completely different platform. You know, when they changed the architecture, you know, they really changed the game because the games made, like, they were more accessible, they were easier to play, you know, and it's not easier to play,
like,
sorry.
the hack and slash.
Let me correct that. First of all, when they built this new architecture for the PS4, it was easier to develop. And because it's easier to develop, you get games like this. Because the guys can just start working, you know, like they make their engines, the engines respond to the way they want to do stuff. And what's really great about God of War is the way you can switch up your gameplay. So you could throw the Leviathan axe, switch to hand, or use your shield as an offensive weapon, go back to the Chaos Blades, then go back to the Leviathan axe as it's coming back after a rotation of beating up enemies. Kratos is brutal, and he's savage, but he's also a pretty badass dad as well. And that's what I love about this game. It really was this like really cool father and son bonding journey.
Yeah.
So it was just nice, you know. It was a good game.
It's
you know?
nice. It's like a different take on God of War because you don't see Kratos in his familiar setting. You see him in a new setting.
Yeah. So
and this is a new territory for Kratos.
Yeah.
He's been kind of stoic and hidden away in this culture of Nordic and Viking mythology, and he's trying to keep himself to himself, but he gets confronted by this mysterious character who approaches him at the start of the game, and it's really cool. I think I give props to Santa Monica for their narrative writing, their creative writing, and overall game architecture and structure for how they piece the game together.
I agree, bro, and I'm very, 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 very happy that I got the chance to experience this game. It's one of those kind of rare joys in gaming where you get almost like a perfect game. Like everyone's done it with a lot of love. There isn't kind of like, oh, you've got to complete the game by buying this DLC or this skin or this kind of asset's going to give you this edge in the game. It's whatever's in the game, you work hard, you've got to earn your victories. So, everything's really cool in it. Like you've got like cameos by Thor, you've got Odin's background, you've got trolls,
Thor's sons.
you got Thor's sons in it who you fight, you've got cameo by Thor. Atreus is a really great supporting character too, because you find out later that he's actually Loki, and that Faye was actually Laufey, so she was originally a god, like a frost giant, and they were at kind of war with the with the Nordic gods and stuff, so with Odin and all that. So basically it's kind of a bit similar to when Herc goes to the Nordic land to kind of, like in the later seasons of Hercules, the Kevin Sorbo series, but it's sort of better executed in this game because this is like an AU and they can do so many great stuff. So like Niflheim, Jotunheim,
Midgard,
all of my favorite places.
All the Heims.
Yeah, Savannahheim and all of that.
Anaheim.
So what's really cool though is I really love the Greek mythology. I also love the Nordic mythology and all these wicked kind of like gods and ancient kind of deity style warriors, and this game was really wicked. The massive serpent, the world serpent, was amazing
cool,
too.
Yeah.
So he's a
amazing character.
great creature. When I first saw the trailer of that, I was like, I knew this game's gonna be great.
Have you got another whetstone?
Exactly. So like that classic line with the two
If
guys,
anybody's played the game, they know what I'm talking about.
So it's really great. So bro, tell me like what you think about the gameplay, the mechanics of the game.
I like the gameplay. It's obviously a classic hack and slash system, but this time what they've done with God of War 4, I like to call it, but it's just God of War for the PS4, is they've moved him to over the shoulder with a kind of third person perspective. So it's quite nice. Before the games were very kind of, what would you say, side-scrolling with a bit of over the shoulder.
It was sort of like there's a cinematic background, and then you move around that space.
Yes.
So I call it cinematic viewing.
Yes.
So it's a technique that's very similar to like Resident Evil and all those, where they've set up the stage and then you traverse through the stage. So what they'll do is they'll force the perspective, and you'll work across that perspective. So that was fun. That perspective is fun, but then it's also limiting. Having the OTS adds a tacticalness to the gameplay. You're in control then.
It's better to hide against stuff, crouch down, take cover, attack people, do multi-attacks. It's a bit similar to games like Arkham Knight and Arkham Asylum. The same kind of principle has been adopted in these newer games. And I think a lot of the PS4 games have the similar thing because players are familiar with those kind of styles of gameplay.
Yeah, because Arkham had an OTS style where when you're walking down corridors, it kind of hovers on the shoulder of Batman, so when he throws batarangs and does stuff. But when it goes into battle, it opens up and it becomes like an arena
when you charge
style.
your axe, it gets closer, and then when he chucks it, it goes further away.
Yeah, so in Batman, the Rocksteady series, it's a bit different to this. This one almost always stays over the shoulder,
like a fixed
angle until it wants to go into a cutscene or some kind of like QTE kind of battle. So what I liked about what Cory Balrog did is that he emphasized that it would take God of War into a new, fresher direction, which is brilliant. But also it stays quite familiar to what we're used to. So it's not too stupid, as in like, let me throw a wrench in the works and completely ruin everything. Because sometimes that can happen. We had that with Mass Effect 3. We had that recently with Last of Us 2, where kind of like there's been a lot of controversy about it, and it doesn't matter how good the game is. If the story's shit and you can't really relate to it or you can't have fun playing it, it's bad. So, it's like, so stupid. I really don't like the way they do that, and I like it when people stay consistent with their storytelling, and you know they work hard to really provide something really good. This is a night and day difference between Last of Us 2 and this. You know, it's I had a feeling that maybe they were gonna kill Kratos off and they were gonna do that kind of stuff where they're like, okay, let's kill him, and then Atreus carries on or some BS, right? Like they did in like Red Dead and the
But
early
no,
games,
he's too strong. Well, as soon as he gets the Blades of Chaos, the game shifts another level.
That bit was boss. Like
it was
I loved
so
it.
Cool.
You know,
and fighting obviously Modi and Magni, the sons of Thor, were really funny because they were obviously voiced by really famous people, famous voice artists that we know and love.
So it's really great. I mean, who voiced it, bro?
Well, we had Nolan North and Troy Baker.
So Troy Baker and Nolan North played the brothers, and they're fucking amazing dudes, aren't they?
Yeah,
like,
amazing.
And then, I have to give props to Chris Judge, my all-time G from Stargate. Me and Z have been Stargate fans for years. I got Z into Stargate. Stargate was my top show, man. Like Richard Dean Anderson, Amanda Tapping, Michael Shanks, you know, everybody, Chris Judge. Oh my god, these guys, Don S. Davies, may rest in peace. This I will do a very thorough house rep about all 10 seasons of Stargate. I've still also got to do about Smallville too, but oh my god, this game was so good. This game is just
and you have to play the game all the way through to get that secret ending as well. It's so cool. That was really awesome, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, playing the game is such a lovely experience. It's very reminiscent of games like Broken Sword, Metal Gear Solid, where you go on a journey and it's a very cinematic narrative of a journey with the characters of Kratos and Atreus. And we just love to follow their story as they're progressing through this Nordic mythology, isn't it? They kind of go through all the Scandinavian kind of like realms and stuff.
That's what's really great about it. The look is nice of the different kind of creatures and stuff, and you know you fight different types of people from different realms, like different kind of like Valkyrie style monsters, Balrogs. The Valkyrie battles are very tough. Very tough, I have to say. You know, like trying to do them on that insane difficulty is die near impossible. I'm on the last Valkyrie, but I've just been so busy that I've never had a chance to finish it. So
but we finished it. We're just like
I mean, like we finished the main story, but we're wrapping up a lot of the kind of side stuff. We've only got one Valkyrie to face like left over, but we just haven't had a chance because of COVID, you know, all these other things, building, you know, like the new stuff, getting Rogue Legacy back on, you know, like back into the production cycle. We still got to finish our really good superhero films, so, you know, we'll have updates about that on a few podcasts going down. But I'll tell you that as good as this game is, there's one really shit stage. It's the stupid one where you have that weird smoke and you have to wear the armor.
Haze, the smoky haze.
It's that stupid timed kind of like realm where you're going after the treasure or some guy.
In the maze of traps.
Yeah, I really hate that stage. I hate
Niflheim.
I don't know. I think it's Niflheim. I can't remember. But that is a total piece of shit stage, and that I want to smack the coders in the head. You know, because to be honest, man, those type of spammy rebooting kind of stages, I really hate. I love the hell bit where you're in hell and you work your way up the towers of bad guys and then you reach the prize at the end, and that's really cool. Then you fight the Valkyrie, that's great. But having a resetting kind of stage where you have to run through and you have to quickly get through while it's timed and your armor and life span are draining, I hate stages like that. I find them stupid, and it's not even a challenge, it's just spammy. You know, you get what I mean? Because the same bad guys come all the time. You know, the you know, they say that the frequency changes, but you know when you have that stupid kind of goofy death looking thing that kind of laughs around and runs around and you're trying to kill it, it's shite as hell. So that was the worst stage, and that's why it loses a shield for me. You know, just because of that one stage, because For Honor doesn't have, it's not For Honor, For Horizon doesn't have that. Yeah. For Horizon has this nice open, you know, like planned kind of stage, and you travel around, and then you can choose your battles and how you do them. You can do them in this as well, but not when you're in that stage. In that stage, you don't have time to be stealthy. You don't have time to take your time against the blades and the traps. So that's the thing I really hate about the game. You know, it's you know, yeah. So I just don't think it's that's like the worst game. What not worst game, worst part of the
Worst
game.
part of the game.
So Z, tell me what you think about other stuff.
Yeah, I think from a technical point of view, I think the game is graphically very amazing looking. It's all HD. You can I think the PlayStation 4 can play kind of like the sub 4K with the sampling, and it plays it very smoothly.
Yeah, we played it on the Pro.
4K on the Pro.
Yeah, so we're running the Pro rig at 4K, so it was.
And what I liked is that the entire game was done in like one long kind of like shot. It doesn't have any massive loading screens or fade to blacks. Obviously, there are hidden. You can see technically there's hidden loading screens between going up and down lifts and stuff like that, and going through different boat and water areas.
Yeah.
You can see that the PlayStation is doing a smart job of loading everything in the background.
Yeah.
And obviously having the over the shoulder, it was very nice. There's a lot more enemies on screen at the same time. You know, there's more intensity than there was in the previous God of War 3 game, where you know you can take on multiple guys at the same time, and Kratos can use Atreus as a support character to shoot arrows and thing, and you can use the commands on the D-pad to get Atreus to help you, and then you have to help Atreus in fighting together. But what was really nice is that the team and Cory Balrog had this idea for doing this kind of game technique previously in previous games, and they had pitched the ideas on previous games that they were working on, like for example Crystal Dynamics Tomb Raider, which obviously they've made that new Avengers game now, haven't they?
So Crystal Dynamics did an amazing job on Tomb Raider. Tomb Raider is an amazing
Tomb
reboot,
Raider, not the second, not Shadow.
Because the first Tomb Raider, original Tomb Raider, was something we had on the Saturn.
Yeah.
So we really enjoyed that game. We really liked that one. But then the over-sexualization of Lara Croft put me off the game. So 2, 3, I didn't play so much. You know, like this kind of fetishism on the character, never really clicked with me. I never found her interesting in that sense. I just thought of her as a cool Indiana Jones kind of character. And I love these kind of treasure hunter type characters. That's why I love Uncharted and I love Indiana Jones. So Tomb Raider was wicked. Then the franchise got a bit weird. You know, it started going a little bit all over the place. The new Tomb Raider was really wicked because it brought Lara back to the point where she was like really fresh and green. So each victory was earned in that game.
And the principle is the same in God of War. I think what is nice is that Sony have embraced, even though there was, from what I understand, a lot of skepticism to bring a new God of War to PlayStation, Sony were more receptive of the idea of having a new God of War for this platform, for the PlayStation 4.
And that's good about Sony. Like, Sony work hard, and this is why I want to work with them. They're giving people the ability to create. They're like, look, we're going to give you this kind of ability to push yourself. You justify the expense to us, and we'll support you. Now, I like that. You know, if I had a good team behind me, like a big AAA studio, the sky's the limit for someone like me. It's like I'm in Candyland. So the hardest thing for us right now is at this indie level, I've got to count the pounds. I've got to pinch the pennies. I've got to utilize whatever budget I've got to tell a story and to create stuff. So, you know, there's so many things that I want to do with Z and Pri and everyone. We just get limited by what we can actually make right now until we can get to a point where, you know, we got a much better reach. We've got a much better kind of bunch of kind of like studios behind us, and then the stuff that we can make, oh my god, you know, like if you think God of War is great, you haven't seen some of the stuff that's swirling around in my head. You know, so a brilliant game. Now the score, I wanted to talk about the score. It was amazing. I really liked the score, you know, really quality stuff by Bear McCreary. He did a really awesome job with the music. What did you think of the music, bro?
I loved the music. I think it was very deep, very orchestral, very nice little homages to the original God of War games with the horns and the violins and the kind of shrieks and stuff like that. I thought that was very cool. and then he brought
I mean,
in a
he
lot
used
of the
weird
Icelandic
instruments
kind
like
of
the
stuff.
hurdy-gurdy and stuff, like
Yeah.
instruments we don't really like hear
Yeah,
of.
like a fiddle
Yeah.
and a harp and stuff like that to get those kind of
Yeah.
Viking sounds.
Powerful female vocals as well
Yeah,
by
yeah.
a Feroci singer, so that was really nice. They used Icelandic choirs, a hand dagger fiddle, you know, oh my god, like this was like really nice. This was a beautiful quality thing, and I had it like pumping out the sound system. It was amazing, like the thunder that you felt.
I think
when...
the production value is very good on this game. It has a lovely quality to it.
Yeah.
And overall a nice experience to play on your console. You will spend hours, especially when you're unlocking those orbs. Remember we had to fight those night guards?
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
to unlock those
Yeah.
portals or something.
Portal keys or
keys or something. Like that.
I don't know. I can't remember what it was.
Funny. And then there's always like little. We always used to think, are there little hidden Easter eggs here and there and stuff? And
yeah, then you tend to discover some fun stuff.
Discover some awesome stuff.
Also,
little side missions.
Atreus, what's the guy's name? Mimir or something?
Mimir, yeah.
Mimir, yeah.
Guy.
So
Bodiless.
Atreus, Mimir, and Kratos' conversations are really fun in the boat as well. You know, so it's pretty cool.
Where he's kind of telling stories about Odin.
Yeah, about Odin and the stuff he did. You know, his legends and things.
Yeah.
So yeah,
so
I mean,
I think it's deserving of being Game of the Year for that year. Definitely.
I agree.
It's such a good game.
Very good game. I actually think that like now this I don't know if people will agree with though, but I think Last of Us 2 is seriously overrated. You know, that game has an amazing engine, but it's ruined by a crap story. You know, from what I've heard, because I haven't actually fully played the game, but from what I've seen, the game's gameplay was amazing, but the story I heard was stupid. That's caused a lot of controversy, and I read about it, and I'm not happy the direction they took the franchise in. I think they tanked the franchise. This game, on the other hand, has only re-energized the franchise.
Or reinvigorate, yeah.
Yeah, and made it even better. And I'm jonesing to play a new one. If they make a God of War on the PS5, I'm there.
Yeah.
You know, you just take my money. You get what I'm trying to say? It's a badass franchise. So, I really want to thank Corey Balrog and the team. This is a tight game. I enjoyed it thoroughly, and this is what led the charge for the PS4. We had
it's these
amazing
titles: Horizon,
titles.
Uncharted, 4, God of War. These are all AAA titles that have kept PlayStation, and especially the PlayStation 4, a good console as it is.
Yeah, and this is why, you know, like I knew where I was leaning when I first saw the Xbox debut and the PS4, and they were like, I'm probably going to do a top 10 mistakes that Microsoft made that cost them the war, you know, last year, and also I'm going to talk about the top 10 reasons why the PS4 succeeded. And I've been thinking about this. So what I might start doing also on the YouTube channel, start doing top 10s, you know, and nice stuff like that, where you get to see from my point of view why I think this stuff killed it and why it was really cool. To just wrap things up, architecture, art design, production design is amazing. Gameplay and mechanics get a high rating from me. Voice acting, mocap, graphics engine, amazing.
Script writing.
Score, script, direction, production, amazing. So, if I would give this shield, I'd give this a solid 4 shields. It only uses 1 shield from me because of that stupid stage. Otherwise, it would have gotten a solid 5. Not many things have gotten solid 5s from me. Like, so it's very hard for me to give this one a solid 5. So it just gets 4 shields. So Z, what would you give it?
Can you give a 4.5?
Yeah, you can give a 4.5.
Yeah, I'd give it a 4.5.
So if you've given it a 4.5 and I've given it a 4, then it gets an aggregated 4.5. So God of War on the PS4 gets 4.5. So I want to thank you, Z, for joining me on this podcast. We got another one we're gonna bang out in a little while. So episode 24 is on its way. We had a little bit of a delay because we've just been busy fixing everything. You know, like getting the new logos and the site and other things launched. So yeah, we'll catch you on the next episode of Thor, aka the House and Rep. So
make
chill,
sure you like and subscribe.
Exactly, I was gonna say the same thing. Like, subscribe, and Z read my mind. So like, subscribe, please share, join the revolution. You know, conjure dreams with us, forge the future, and you know, back the Rep Knights. Catch you on the next one, guys. See ya.